Baby the other night. So you just never know. I mean, the enemy's always after you. But before I get into my sermon this evening, reminder: Wednesday night, 4th of July. It's going to be great. We're going to have a special celebration here, 7 o'clock. I'm holding up two fingers. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. We'll have a special service and watermelon afterwards. So we're going to have watermelon seed spitting contest or no? Never know what'll happen. Anything can happen. That's why I love Faith Harbor, man. You just never know what's going to happen Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. The Spirit's here all the time. We don't go on cruise control on Sunday night. We don't put all our effort into Sunday morning. We're going to give you our heart and soul. We're going to give you everything we've got. Whatever the Spirit puts on our heart. And I just got a short little sermon this evening. I'm going to be in Psalm 34. Psalm 34. Psalms of David. Well, most of them anyway. David did write a lot of the Psalms. That's the longest book in the Bible. And I really like this one. I'm going to start with the first 3 verses and skip ahead. But starting in verse 1, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. And then verse 8, everybody knows this verse. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who trusts in him. Taste and see that the Lord is good. He's good. When the man called Jesus good teacher, the Lord said, "There's no one good but the Father." Well, every year in Beaumont, there's an event called Taste of the Triangle. It's usually at the Beaumont Civic Center. It was at Ford Park for a while. But when you go, you have area restaurants. They have tables set up. And they'll have one of their signature items. Jason's Deli will usually have muffaladas cut up into bite-sized pieces. Chick-fil-A is going to have chicken nuggets or chicken strips, and so on. And you pay, I don't know, it used to be $20. I don't know what it is now. It's been a while since I've been. 25. But you go in, you can eat as much as you want. You go to the different tables, and I usually would I would develop a little pattern, follow a certain trail, go taste all the different wares. And one year I saw Larry Beaulieu there. I'm sure most of you remember Larry Beaulieu was news anchor for Channel 6, and I'd never met the guy. So I'm walking up to him, just to say hi, shake his hand, say, "Hey, how you doing, Larry? Good to meet you," and he's shaking my hand with the other hand. He's handing me a bowl. He goes, "Here, try some turtle soup." And I'm just like, "Thank you, Larry." So I take the soup. I'm walking off. I'm like, maybe it'll taste like chicken. I take a bite. It didn't taste like chicken. Whatever you think turtle tastes like, that's what it tasted like. So I made sure he wasn't looking, and in the garbage can it went. And I don't know if it was a restaurant or he was just there promoting himself. It's like, that's not a very good promotion for yourself, Larry. I'm sorry. But anyway, as I said, these restaurants, they'll give you a sample And it's just, like I said, it's usually just one item they have. So, say like I go to Jason's Deli, I go to the table, I see their muffalata, and I try, oh, this is really good, but I'm only getting a portion, I'm only getting a sample. There's a small sample of what Jason's Deli is about. Now, if I want to explore it further, if I want to go further and see what else they have to offer, I have to go to their restaurant. I have to go to the source. And then I've got the full menu. I've got the whole restaurant. I've got the whole experience right there in front of me. And that's how it is with Jesus. Now I can tell you about Jesus. I can tell you what a great Lord He is. I can tell you what He's done for me. And you can listen. It's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. But you're only getting part of it. If you really want to experience the Lord, then you have to taste and see that He is good. Amen. You have to go to Him yourself. Right. Now, our taste for the Lord starts at an early age. Usually our parents, if they're good church-going people like our parents were, we were blessed to be raised in a good family. We'd go to church. We learned prayers. We attended church. Maybe as we got older, we were involved in church. But even church can't give you the full experience sometimes. You can get to a point where you're just going through the motions. It's just a ritual you go through. It's just a habit. You just go through the motions. You know what's coming. You know what's coming up next. You know what to do. You know when to sit. You know when to stand. You know when to clap. Right. And then you're just there. You're not really experiencing the full effect. So it'd be like if you went to a restaurant. Let's say you went to Saltgrass. Oh, you're missing out. Their potato soup is going to be at the marriage supper, I'm guarantee. It's that good. But imagine, okay, I'm at Saltgrass. I walk in. I look at the surroundings. I look at the decor. I go over by the kitchen. I can smell that ribeye on the grill. I can smell the potato soup. I can hear them stirring it. Oh, I can smell it. Yeah, I can smell them stirring it. I can hear them stirring. I can smell the potato. Sometimes my tongue and my brain aren't in sync. And by the way, you're not imagining things. My tongue is blue because I ate some cake earlier and it had some blue icing. So I'm not a blue tongue devil. Just yeah, but I'm just being color coordinated here. So I'm experiencing all the aromas, but I don't order. Now Bill's going, no way. Because Bill knows how I love to eat. But just pretend that I'm in Saltgrass, smelling all the aroma, but I don't order. I don't eat. Well, I didn't get the full experience. I didn't taste. I didn't see what they had to offer. Or even if I do go, but if I just eat like a bite of their bread, which is really good, by the way, and that's all I eat, well, I might be somewhat satisfied for a little bit, but, as soon as I leave the restaurant, go home, I'm going to be hungry. Because I didn't take all of the restaurant. I didn't take all that they had to offer. And if we just listen to other people's testimonies, if we just go by what other people tell us about Jesus, then again, we're not getting the full experience. We're not tasting of the Lord ourselves. We're just hearing about it. It's like, okay, that sounds good. But if you do decide to taste of the Lord, you can't just do it halfway. In John, if I can find my place, I had this problem this morning. In John 6, if you remember, Jesus, he fed the 5,000. The first part of the chapter, he fed the 5,000, and the disciples went across the river. Jesus joined them later by walking on the water. And I'll pick up in verse 25. When they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" And Jesus answered them and said, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, you seek me, not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perishes, but for that meat which endures unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him has God the Father sealed." And then he goes on. They ask him about works, and they said, "The work of God is that you believe on him whom he has sent." Then they ask for a sign. What sign do you show that we may believe you, that we may see and believe you? Our fathers ate manna in the desert. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. And then Jesus tells them, "Moses gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he which comes down from heaven and gives life unto the world." And they say, "Well, give us this bread." He says, I am the bread of life. I am the bread of life. You come to me, you'll never hunger. Who believes on me shall never thirst. I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. And 2 other times he reminds them that he is the bread of life. He says, "Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever." And then he tells them, if you don't eat my body and drink my blood, you will not have life within you. Well, this blows their mind. Like, what are you talking about? Eating your body, drinking your blood. Of course, he was being figurative, but he's trying to make a point. That if you want me, you have to have all of me. You can't just have miracle working Jesus. You can't just have healing Jesus. You have to take all of Jesus. Only then can you taste and see that the Lord is good. And then as you read further, most of them said, "Well, this is a hard saying. Who can take it?" And a bunch of them walked away. They couldn't handle it. But Peter told him, said, "We believe you're Christ, the Son of the living God. You have the words of eternal life." But unfortunately, the others didn't get it. Pastor Lynn made mention of the woman, had the issue of blood for 12 years. That was actually in my first sermon. Remember, I mentioned my memories on Facebook about my first sermon here at Faith Harbor, and that was part of my first sermon of the woman who had that issue of blood. She had tried the doctors, what they had to offer, which unfortunately wasn't much. So she heard that Jesus was in town, the Lord was in town. She knew, if I can just touch his clothes, if I can just taste him, if I can just taste of the Lord, I know it'll be good. And it was, because as soon as she touched the outer fringe of his garment, she was healed immediately. It wasn't the day after, it wasn't the week after, it was immediately. Because she tasted and saw that the Lord was good. In Luke 19, you read about Zacchaeus. He wanted to taste of the Lord. And he wanted to taste so bad he would do whatever it took. He had to shimmy up a tree. And that's exactly what he did. He climbed up a tree so he could get a good vantage point and see him walking by. And it worked because the Lord saw him and said, "Come on down, Zacchaeus. That's it. We're going to your house." And he saw the Lord was good and it transformed him. He said, "I'm giving half my belongings to the poor. And if I wronged anybody, I'm going to pay them back fourfold." And the Lord said, salvation has come to this house. Because he tasted and he saw that the Lord was good. Last Saturday, I got a text, 5 minutes to 6 in the morning. Now, I was awake. I was laying in bed, deciding if I wanted to get up. And my phone's in the other room charging, so I was like, well, I guess I'm getting up. And it was a coworker telling me, says, "Dude, Vinnie Paul died." So I just woke up, so I'm going through my mind, Vinnie Paul, drummer, heavy metal band, yeah. Googled it to make sure, he did die. 54 years old. Had a heavy metal band called Pantera. I know none of you know who that is. But he was a heavy metal drummer, had a band, a couple of bands after that. He was well known in the rock world. But dead at 54. And I asked my coworker that Monday, I said, well, you think his lifestyle contributed to his death? I said, yeah, more than likely. He had a heart attack, I believe is how he died. But he's a heavy drinker. I believe he smoked. Probably didn't eat very well on the road because, those backstage banquets, probably a lot of processed food. It's not the epitome of health food. It's not paleo. It's not keto or any of that stuff, So, yeah, I'll have to enlighten you one day. But Vinnie Paul, as far as I know, he never tasted the Lord. His taste was for the world. His taste was for rock and roll. So he took all that had to offer, the fame, the fortune, playing the world, because they toured all over the world. And I saw the band. I saw the band back in the day. And they were good at what they did. And that used to be my dream. Because I thought that was the life. But then, you see, it seems like more and more, I look in the paper, I look on Facebook, this rock star dead, that rock star dead, that celebrity dead. Because of that fast living. You know, I've said it before, you know, yeah, the world tastes good. Sin tastes good. It looks good. And it seems like the way to go. But it doesn't get you anywhere except down into the pits of hell. And all that pleasure is just, all that glory, it's just temporary. And the sad thing is, there are a lot of Christians out there who think they're tasting of the Lord, but they're just tasting a sample. They still have one foot in the world, and then they're trying to have one foot here in the Promised Land. There's a song on the Gospel Highway with the chorus goes something like, you can't have one foot in Egypt representing the world. You can't have one foot in Egypt and the other in the Promised Land. I remember the song back in the 80s. It said something about one foot in hell and the other's rocking with the devil and setting him free. So it doesn't work when you only have one foot up here and you got that one foot down in the world, down in the pits of hell. Because you may try to, have that relationship. You may try to taste more, but the devil's got a hold of you. He's got that foot, and next thing you know, you're dragged down. You're totally into the world. You're totally in his realm now. You're in his grip. And the only way you're going to break free is to totally taste of the Lord. And to taste of the Lord, it's good to get into a good church. A good church. Church that preaches the Word, that stands on the Word. The only book we endorse here is the Word. Yeah, there are lots of books out there written by authors who think they know something, who think they know more than what the Word of God says. This is all you need to know right here. You want to taste of the Lord, dig into His Word. I mean, dig into it. Read it, and read it again. Read it cover to cover. I loved when I first started reading, had the reading plans on the Bible app. You have the 1-year plan, then I tried a 6-month plan. I actually tried a 90-day plan. That was a little tough, but I made it through. Now I just read. However far I get. Absolutely. I think it was in Exodus, about the 5th time I think I read through it, I thought, whoa, what does that say? Never caught that before. And I wouldn't have if I just stopped at that one time reading. But I kept going back. Because once you taste the Lord, once you really taste the Lord, you can't get enough. You want more. You want to go back. It's like an all-day buffet. Linda and I went to Benton's after church today. That's the old Pompano Club in Port Neches. They have a Sunday brunch buffet. So we get there. I grab a plate, sampled this, take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, sat down, ate. That was good. Grabbed another plate. I want some more. I want to sample more. So it's something I didn't do the first time. Sampled this. Oh, I didn't see this first go around. Grabbed that. Sat down and ate. I made 3 trips. Because I couldn't get enough. and then I had dessert. I had dessert. Well, technically, because I ate part of Linda's. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I'd kept going, they would have. But it was so good. It was so good. I just wanted to keep tasting of it. And that's how it is when you taste of the Lord. When you get into that relationship with the Lord, you can't get enough. You want to be here Sunday morning. You want to be here Sunday night. You're here on Wednesday night. And when we have special services, you're here. You're here. When we have revival, when Brother Rod Vincent's here, or Terry Green is here, or Carl Brown, or whoever coming up. Yes, Pastor Rod is when? August 22nd. Special Wednesday night service, August 20th. Yeah, that's gonna be fantastic. We'll have Terry and Rod here in the fall. I'll be here every night because I can't get enough. You know, like I said, you know, the world looks good and it tastes good, but it's temporary. You know, and you may feel good for a while, but that's just temporary. You know, your happiness doesn't last when you're in the world. To experience true joy, to have that complete joy that's eternal, taste the Lord and see that He is good. Will you stand with me this evening? Why don't we come forward?